Hey folks, this is Kalani. You may have heard a lot about covenants in Shadowlands and how they're going to be incredibly important in your character's progression and the stories you can explore in the new expansion. All of that is true. Covenants are a huge part of Shadowlands, maybe larger than you realize, but you can only join one. You can swap back and forth, but you can only ever be a part of one covenant at any given time. So how do you know you've chosen the right covenant? Well, that's what this video is for. I'm going to walk you through each covenant, who they are, what they offer, and help you make the best decision you can. Now, before we jump in, be sure to pop by our live stream sometime over at twitch.tv/KalaniTV. We stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and we always love chatting with you wonderful folks, so I hope to see you soon. Let's kick things off with the Kyrian. This is the covenant tied to the Bastion Zone. The purest souls are sent to Bastion to undergo rigorous trials to cleanse their spirit and help them get ready for Ascension. The Ascended Kyrian are the winged chaps flying around all over the place, and earning your wings is a rite of passage, and some Kyrian go on to become the spirit healers that we all know and love. The main purpose of the Kyrian is to ferry souls of the dead across the Veil to be judged by the Arbiter. You'll find overarching themes of feathered wings, grand spires, flying platforms, and a sense of grandiose. It means something special to be part of the Kyrian. As for colours, you're working with plenty of silver, gold, blue, and white. It's a very satisfying combination, and if you love the idea of serving in the light on a priest or a paladin, for example, you should fit right in. Each covenant has their own sanctum, a base of operations that only the members of the covenant can hang out in. If you are a necrolord and you try to creep up on the Kyrian sanctum, you'll get swiftly booted out, so this is a members only club type of deal. The Kyrian sanctum is Elysian Hold, the seat of power in Bastion, where the Archon typically hangs out. You'll be able to find everything you need to progress through your covenant in the sanctum, so you'll be spending a lot of time here, and that means you want it to look good, right? Thankfully, the Elysian Hold is everything you would expect from the Kyrian. It's grand, it's massive, it looks amazing, and you really get a sense of being among higher beings here. This is probably one of the prettiest little city things in the game, in my opinion. Everyone who decides to join the Kyrian will be able to summon their very own steward servant, who will provide you with some very useful services. He will always bring a free health potion with him that removes almost any debuff. He can let you change your talents outside of a rest zone, and he can even act as a vendor to either sell your unwanted junk to or to buy food and drink. They can also do a few special things if you summon them in the right place, like repair broken Kyrian machines. As a Kyrian, you'll also gain access to the Path of Ascension, a time-honoured Kyrian tradition where you take control of your soulbound champions and fight in a special arena for glory, power, and loot. Each soulbind has unique abilities for you to use, which makes it a really cool experience because you aren't playing your class or spec, you're actually playing as a Kyrian soul. You can collect different memories of challenges for your soulbinds to do battle with, and you can collect and craft gear for your soulbinds to help them in battle. If you join the Kyrian, getting around the Bastion Zone is going to be a breeze thanks to the teleportation pads. You can zoom from one end of the map all the way to the other in a heartbeat. You can also unlock extra content in Bastion like rare monsters, new mounts to collect, world quests, all that cool stuff. So if you love the Bastion Zone and you will spend a lot of time here for whatever reason, the Kyrian will be a fantastic pick. Then we also have the Necrolords. Very different in theme, very different in purpose. The Necrolords are part of a greater purpose in Maldraxxus, which has fallen to infighting with all of the problems that currently plague the Shadowlands. So part of your job as a Necrolord is going to be stabilizing the zone and bringing order to a very chaotic place. The reason why Maldraxxus is in such a sorry state is explained through the leveling process, so I won't spoil that for you. Just know that Maldraxxus is supposed to be the standing army of the Shadowlands. This is where the muscle lies, but it's not really fulfilling that purpose at the moment, and the Necrolords are trying to fix that. They aren't quite as strict as the Kyrian, and they'll take pretty much anyone who can hold their own. You'll see many different characters. The vast majority of your workforce is going to be skeletons though. Skeletons, liches, creepy spider people, abominations, you know, the usual undead monsters, maybe the occasional slime thrown in for good measure. You'll be in good company. The Necrolord's sanctum is hidden away in a giant mountain statue thing. It makes sense in the story, I promise. It's a dark cave, but in the coolest way possible. Creepy green fires burn in lanterns and hang from the ceiling. There are runes carved everywhere and a massive statue of the Primus. If you love creepy caves, this is definitely the sanctum for you. There are several mini passageways that are used for storage and might be expanded upon later. One of these areas is used as a portal room where you can create new portals to travel to important locations in Maldraxxus, like to the top of the seat of the Primus, to get a good view of the land before you. There's also a private portal to a necropolis. It starts in a bit of a rough state, but that's not going to stop the resourceful Necrolords. After building up your forces and rebuilding the once fallen necropolis, you can take control and command your armies from the sky. This also serves as a fantastic platform for getting around the zone, so you don't have to worry about running through the vast hordes of undead creatures as you work your way from world quest to world quest. Necrolords will definitely have a much easier time navigating Maldraxxus when compared to anyone else, which makes sense really. Every member of the Necrolords will also be taught how to use the flesh of fallen enemies to bolster their own defenses with the Fleshcraft ability. You have a very powerful shield on a 2-minute cooldown, which makes it incredible for any soloing adventures you might embark on, but the power of the shield is increased for every dead monster around you. You literally take their essence, their power, their spirit, and add it to your shield. Nothing screams Necromancer more than empowering yourself with the corpses of your enemies. And if that still wasn't enough, the Necrolords can also build their own abominations. You heard me right, build an abomination. It's like Build-A-Bear, but with flesh and guts. You can collect flesh and parts from monsters you kill, bring it back to your stitching station and weave everything together, then slap a soul in your abomination and you're good to go. Creating different abominations can open up access to different NPCs. You can make vendors, champions, bodyguards, mounts. It's kinda crazy. A lot of the flavor text of specific abominations hints at them opening up new and exciting ways to explore Maldraxxus and to earn some hidden rewards. You're making a mini army to help you conquer the zone, but instead of just recruiting followers, you're actually putting them together yourself with flesh you collect. Doesn't that just sound delightful? Next up, we have the Night Fae, the protectors and tenders of Ardenweald. Ardenweald is a magical forest where beings of nature go to rest and recuperate before they're reborn into the mortal world. This is actually where all of the wild gods would have come before they returned to Azeroth renewed. It's also a place for mortals to go who shared a deep bond with nature and life to facilitate this cycle. So the druids and hunters out there, this is your afterlife. If you choose it, of course. Ardenweald is a beautiful zone with giant dream trees that pull an anima from the Shadowlands to be used in the various groves of wild seeds. You can definitely see why creatures of nature would come here to slumber. It's the perfect enchanted forest. The blues, purples, pinks and greens all work together to bring this zone to life, and it looks amazing. The Night Fae Sanctum lies in the heart of the forest, where you will protect the literal heart of the forest. So that's going to be very important if you pay attention to the story while you level through Ardenweald. But it's basically a huge tree house. What's not to love? This is where the court gathers to decide the fate of Ardenweald and what must be done to protect it. This sanctum is perfect for anyone who would already fall in love with Ardenweald, so if you want to live the druid or hunter dream of an enchanted forest afterlife, you'll definitely enjoy spending your time upgrading and working in this sanctum, and if you're lucky enough, you may even earn an audience with the Winter Queen herself, the gracious leader of the Night Fae. Members of the Night Fae are also taught how to shapeshift into a Fae spirit. This allows you to move around more freely, this form is a bit faster than just walking around, and you can blink on a very short cooldown. It only lasts for a short duration while you're out in the world, but if you're in a rested area, you can actually stay in your spirit form permanently. While your initial form is that of a fox, you can learn many other shapes to transform into, so go wild with your spirit forms. If you join the Night Fae, you'll also gain access to a mysterious mushroom network. You're allowed to travel anywhere the mushrooms connect, and as you spend more time and anima upgrading this network, they reach out into strange and unpredictable places. Not only does this network allow you to very quickly move around the entire Ardenweald zone, but it opens up areas that only the Night Fae can explore. And then there's also the Queen's Conservatory. A special section of your sanctum is reserved for the growth and restoration of spirits that you come across in your journeys. You can place a spirit in one of your many wild seeds and nurture them to rebirth. You literally help Ardenweald complete its duty of reincarnating wild spirits. There are so many spirits you can help, and you have so many options for how to aid their regrowth. Spirits you help also tend to be quite generous, so there are plenty of rewards to reap along the way. And then last but not least, the Venthyr of Revendreth. You probably know all about these chaps by now. I swear they're the most popular covenant whenever I talk about them. The Venthyr are masters of anima extraction, in some of the more questionable ways. The job of a Venthyr is to prepare sinful souls for redemption or for exile. If a soul has been particularly bad in life, they will need to atone for their sins in Revendreth, which just and so happens to involve extracting anima. Not very pleasant, but apparently quite effective. Your covenant is a special faction of the Venthyr charged with returning Revendreth to its true purpose. Without Revendreth, the rest of the Shadowlands are surely doomed, so time is of the essence. The entire zone of Revendreth is a gothic paradise. Huge castles, massive estates, spires that stretch up to touch the sky. It's such an amazing zone, and you'll be making it your home if you join the Venthyr. The Venthyr Sanctum is hidden away from prying eyes. The only way to get down here is if you know the secret passageway. The secret is a mirror. Maybe not so secret now, but it's still an awesome way to hide an entire sanctum. That means the Venthyr spend a lot of time underground, which isn't too surprising given their vampiric theme. Everything you could ever want in your sanctum could be found down here. Your Forge of Souls, the Anima Conductor, a few dredges to do your bidding, and a bottomless pit you probably don't want to stray too close to. As I said, everything you could ever want. Every member of the Venthyr is taught how to step through the shadows and reappear some distance away. The Door of Shadows, they call it. You can use this ability to great effect in a variety of ways. Teleport up to a higher platform, zip across a large gap, be lazy and just teleport between your different sanctum features. You know, what everyone usually uses a quick teleport for. You're basically a mage on a longer cooldown, but you have way more control over where you can go. It's pretty cool. The Venthyr are also masters of mirrors, and while this Covenant's members do look fantastic, that's not the kind of mirror I'm talking about. They're masters of blood mirrors, teleportation mirrors. Not only do they use these mirrors to protect the privacy of their sanctum, but you can also set up mirrors all over the zone to instantly travel to from your sanctum, and they're set in important locations. That's going to speed up pretty much any activity you're doing in the Revendreth zone, which you probably expected by now. Each Covenant gets to move around their zone easier, but the different types of transport options are really cool in my opinion. And then we have the tea parties. Okay, it's a bit more than a tea party. The Venthyr hold court just outside their sanctum where they set up party tricks, they show off their prowess. Important, distinguished guests are invited to really solidify the presence of the Venthyr in Revendreth. Different guests like different kinds of parties, and it's your job to make sure everything is tidy or messy and that the right food and drink is being served depending on the tastes of your current guests. The more you impress your guests, the happier they are with your court, the better rewards you will walk away with. So if you love pleasing guests and throwing the best parties possible, Venthyr might just be the right covenant for you. Now, if you don't care about any of this stuff, like at all whatsoever, no siree, well, that's a bit disappointing, but also kind of understandable. Every Covenant will get those signature Covenant spells, which is always going to be impactful, but the main thing most of you are probably looking for is which Covenant class spell is the best one for me for different types of content. This is a much harder question to answer, especially in video form, but this is what I will tell you. Wowhead has a page dedicated to tracking the current best Covenant for every class and spec for both Raiding and Mythic Plus. I'll give you a link to that in the comments section below, and you should be able to see the current list on screen right now. These decisions take into account the Covenant class ability, the Covenant general ability, the soul binds and their traits available for each Covenant. This page is updated regularly when any major changes come through the pipeline, and you can read comments from the guide writers explaining their thoughts on the current Covenant choices. All the tanks, healers and DPS are covered with this overview, so you should be able to find a quick answer to your questions. Just bear in in mind that the list may have changed since this video goes up on the YouTubes, so be sure to actually click on the link to find out what is currently best for your class and spec. Picking the best covenant at the start might be okay for a while, but remember that these things are definitely going to change. If you want to stick with the best covenant for your class or spec, that might mean swapping covenant partway through the expansion, or swapping covenants every single patch, or every single time the dev team decides to do a tuning update. Just something to keep in mind. For the most part, there shouldn't be a massive difference between covenants and how powerful they are for your spec. In cases where there is a big difference, those covenants will probably see some major tuning adjustments either down or up. Blizzard said they want to get this stuff as balanced as possible, so even if one covenant isn't the best right now, it should hopefully at least get to a place where it's not a major detriment to your performance in any type of content to actually pick that covenant. So if you love the theme of one covenant, or you really enjoy the generic covenant ability, or maybe you just like how the class covenant spell changes up your rotation, you should be relatively safe picking the covenant you want to play without paying too much attention to which is supposedly numerically better at any given moment. You do you. Every covenant will have its uses. Every covenant will have something they are good at. If something clicks with you, go with that. If you want to chase the current best maximum potential DPS, just be prepared to swap your covenant often. It's doable for sure, it's just going to be extra work. So what's the best covenant? That's going to depend on you and which zone, theme and aesthetic you vibe with the most. If you just want whatever's best for DPS right this very second, you are going to be shackled to a constantly changing tier list. So keep an eye on that and you'll have your answer. Until it changes anyway. But that's it for this video. Have you chosen what covenants your characters will join? Are there any specific class covenant combinations you want to explore? Kyrian Priest, Necrolord Death Knight, or maybe something else? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to come chat, hang out, maybe run a few dungeons with us, you can find us over at twitch.tv/KalaniTV. We stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday, and watching the stream and coming to say hi is one of the best ways you can support the channel right now. And if you ever wanted to be included in the long list of names at the end of every video, a subscription on Twitch is the easiest way to make that happen. You get a free sub to any Twitch channel if you have Amazon Prime too, so be sure to take advantage of that. A big thank you to everyone who has subscribed on Twitch already and to our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, well, now you know how. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.